Caution! This footage was broadcasted nationwide on Japanese television in the summer of 1990. Every summer in Japan, water-related accidents inevitably occur. Despite our best efforts as Japanese citizens, these accidents still happen. I'd like to introduce one such incident that most Japanese are familiar with.
現場には消防警察合わせて11名、うち2名のレスキュー隊員が山を越えて対岸にいた。豪雨で水かさは増し、濁流は腰のあたりを洗っている。100メートル下流に小さな滝、そして18人は断崖絶壁にいた。11時を過ぎ、岸に絶望感が広がり始めた。この頃カメラはむずがる子供にキスをする母親の姿を捉えている。パラソルも流され、18人の体力にも限界が近づいていた。そして11時40分。
It's called the Kurakura River Incident. Sometimes referred to by another name, dokyunn no kawanagare, I'd like to delve into what exactly this accident was. The Kurakura River Incident occurred in August 1999 in Yamanakuchi, Kanagawa Prefecture, at a location named Kurakura River. For clarity, I'll present the sequence of events chronologically. Please listen carefully and consider what went wrong and what you would have done differently. First, the Kurakura River flows down from the Tanzawa Mountains, which has a steep gradient of 1,673 meters. It's a hotspot for hikers all year round. The river is known for having a high rainfall and rapidly rising water levels. As previously mentioned, the accident happened in August, when a tropical depression caused record-breaking rainfalls throughout Japan. A man who worked for a company in Yokohama City visited the river for camping with a group of 25 people, including his children and family. Upon arrival, they pitched their tents in a prohibited area located on a small islet. An islet refers to a landform formed in the middle of a river due to accumulated sediment from upstream. Rain began to fall on Tanzawa Mountain. About 20 minutes later, a dam officer nearby patrolled the area and used a loudspeaker to warn the campers about the rising water levels. Most campers heeded the warning and moved away from the river, but those on the islet ignored the warning. Heavy rain and flood warnings issued throughout Kanagawa Prefecture. The dam, 5 kilometers upstream from the site, activated its siren, signaling a release. Despite this, the group on the islet refused to move. 15 minutes later, the dam officer returned and shouted, "What are you doing? Evacuate immediately!" They still resisted and decided to camp out. Concerned for their safety, the officer reported to the nearby police station. The dam began to release water. By around 21 o'clock, the police arrived, but the river's currents were too strong to cross. The police then shouted with a megaphone, urging them to evacuate. In response, they shouted back insults like, "We'll hit you! The locals are cowards! Do country folks love invading our privacy?" By the next morning, they were still there despite a flood warning issued throughout Kanagawa Prefecture. Around 6 a.m., some who had evacuated the previous night crossed the river and urged the remaining members to evacuate, but they still refused. The water level had reached their knees. A police officer again warned them to evacuate. 12 hours had passed since the first warning. 9 o'clock rescue teams tried to help but gave up due to the fierce water currents. By 10 a.m., the water level had risen to their waists. They finally recognized their peril and shouted, "Call a helicopter now! Isn't it your job to save us?" A rescue team attempted to save them twice using ropes but failed. The water depth rose to the chest level of those on the islet. All 18 were swept away by the muddy stream, observed by the rescue team and reporters. A man holding a 1-year-old child managed to throw the child to shore where another camper rescued the child. Of the 18 swept away, 4, including one child, managed to reach the opposite bank, but the remaining 13 went missing. The next morning, a search began involving 340 people, including firefighters and the self-defense forces. Eventually, all 13 missing persons were found deceased. This tragedy resulted from repeated ignoring of warnings, and due to the adults' poor decisions, even the futures of young children were stolen. Those rescued offended locals by saying the rice balls they were given tasted bad, and their subsequent actions further antagonized people. This incident became infamously known on the Japanese internet as the dokyunn no kawanagare. Dokyunn implies a person without morals, potentially criminal, while kawanagare means swept by the river. In conclusion, if you plan to enjoy rivers in Japan, please check the upstream weather. Evacuate immediately if there's a siren from an upstream dam. Listen to locals' warnings. Never lose sight of children and ensure they wear life jackets. Thank you for listening until the end. Please be safe and enjoy Japanese rivers responsibly. Goodbye.